one of the things that is that being on the House floor, everybody kind of goes to their same seats. We don't have assigned seating, as you know, but everybody kind of goes to the same spot. So that was kind of funny to see. I made the new guy mistake a couple of times, I think, in sitting in some folks that have been there for quite a while, and they were very kind about it, but I moved a few down as I was there. I tried to circulate around and just meet as many people as possible. But that was surprising. Our freshman class, the 119th freshman class, is really outstanding. It's a great group, and that has been I think just very welcoming. They pulled me in as, I'm now not the newest guy, but one of the newest guys, and they pulled me in, and I've started to build really strong relationships. And it has been, we've really worked to try to meet as many folks and colleagues as possible. And one of the things that's helped with that is I played in the congressional baseball game. Loved baseball growing up.
Americans are capable of achieving extraordinary things when they have the freedom and opportunity to do so. This is American Potential.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the American Potential Podcast. I'm your host, David Fromm. One of the great things about America is that you don't have to spend your entire life in one career or just doing one thing. If you want to choose a new opportunity, change careers, or answer a different calling, you can. That's exactly what our guest today has done. He graduated from one of the toughest military academies in the country, flew helicopters for the Army, served in state government, and now represents Tennessee's 7th District in Congress. On top of all that, he's still serving in the Tennessee Air National Guard. Today, we'll hear about his journey, what inspired a life of service, and why he continues to answer the call. I want to welcome to the podcast Congressman Matt Van Epps. Congressman, welcome.
Hey, David, so good to be with you. I really appreciate being on here today.
Thanks. Well, we appreciate you joining. I'm totally looking forward to our conversation. You attended West Point, super prestigious. And in fact, I believe you were the class of 9/11. Is that
right?
True? Which that's a pretty unique, amazing thing. So prior to that, what made you want to join the Army, go to West Point?
Absolutely. Well, it goes back to how I was raised. My mom was born very poor, where if she got an orange for Christmas, it was a really good year. My dad was drafted into Vietnam. He was lower middle class, got drafted into Vietnam, and he served as an infantryman and tunnel rat in Vietnam with the 4th Infantry Division as a specialist, and had a really hard combat experience. And my mom and dad raised my brother, and I have one younger brother who's still active duty Army. But they raised us truly on faith, family, and freedom. Neither of them went to college, but they really believed in education and those values and love of country. And my brother and I are both West Point graduates because of their dedication. And that's where it started. My dad got back from Vietnam, like most Vietnam veterans, got spit on and called names. And fortunately, America is better now. And when my brother and I got home from Iraq and Afghanistan, we were celebrated. And that's how it should have been. But my dad never turned his back on his country. And he loved the flag, loved this country. And he literally we had a flag in our front yard where I grew up, and he put in a bigger flag because it wasn't large enough, and was a true patriot. And like the Toby Keith song, he flew a flag in the yard until the day he died. And unfortunately,
I was just thinking that when you said that.
Yeah, one of was one of both of our favorite songs, and and that upbringing and his experience and that patriotism really planted the seed, just for our love of country and wanting to serve and to help others, and my brother and I both just worked really hard to do well in school. And as my dad would tell more stories, the older we got, we felt like West Point was right. And when I drove in the gate at West Point, I just knew that was the place that I wanted to try to go to school. And I was part of the class of 9/11 and can get into more of that. There's a little story with that as well. But, this is such a perfectly titled podcast as well. My dad would say growing up, you just work as hard as you can. You don't have to be perfect, but work to your full potential. Just work to your full potential. And I think that's such an important lesson to just keep working hard and learn from your lessons and fight for those to your left and right.
Well, I want to hear about West Point and being the 9/11 class. But before that, it really strikes me from just listening to you, we look back upon just family history. And sometimes there's just a generation or that that changes it all. You know, they transform that family's trajectory, and it seems like your parents were that. I mean, you look at the difficult lives that they had, and what that inspired in you and your brother, and now going forward, the sky's the limit. That's truly inspiring. So happy you shared that.
Absolutely, and I think it's the American dream. You want what's better for your kids than the last generation, and that my parents worked really hard, and we grew up middle class, and it's because of their hard work and effort, and we didn't want from anything, and that's because they knew that they had to put in that work and that hard work and to teach us the right values, and that was about love of country and working hard to support those around us and to be kind and courteous and to learn from your mistakes and to get better. And that's what I hope for my family as well. I want my daughter to be better off than I was, and for all young kids, and for this American experience to continue for the next 250 years.
So you went to West Point, and you're in a unique class right at 9/11. What were some of the lessons you learned? And then tell us about what it was like to be in that class at West Point.
Absolutely. So I showed up to West Point, reported in on July 2nd, 2001, so before 9/11. And incidentally, David, today is our day at West Point. So the class of 2030 is showed up today. And what an incredible day, a day you never forget. It's very hard. And but we showed up with about 1,200 cadets, which was a normal class size for that time in 2001. And a few months later, after we completed cadet basic training, we were in the first couple of weeks of the academic year, 9/11 happened. And I was in computer science class when a teacher came in, and anyone that was alive at that time knows, you remember exactly where you were and that experience, and just how hard that was, the anger, the frustration, the fear, the wanting to get back after the terrorist who attacked us on that day. And so as we went through our West Point experience, we knew we were preparing to go to war. We knew we were going to fight the global war on terrorism. And as we got to May of 2005, our graduation month, that class of 1,200, there's normal attrition that happens, and folks will leave for academic or other reasons. And in May of 2005, a couple weeks before our graduation, Time Magazine put 3 of my classmates on the cover, called us the class of 9/11. Well, we get to graduation day on May 28th, and we find out that class that entered with 1,200 was graduating with exactly 911, which is pretty incredible still, gives me goosebumps still to this day. And we knew what we were doing. We knew we were going out to fight in this global war on terror, and unfortunately lost a number of classmates in that fight, but was so honored to do it. And I think it truly was an exceptional class at West Point.
Were there any lessons in particular that you took away from being at such a storied place?
Absolutely. Leadership is something that you always have to work on. You never just meet your full potential. It's kind of always working to exceed your potential. And you have to do that as a leader. You're always learning and growing and adapting. And I think that was core. It furthered my love of country and fighting truly that duty, honor, country, that West Point motto, and that MacArthur so famously stated, that those are the core ideals that we have to live up to. And we ask our sons and daughters, our young folks that are going to West Point, that you're going to lead the most precious thing in America, and that's Americans' sons and daughters into combat. And we're going to ask you to do the hard things to protect our country and to fight and win. And that core ethos has never left me. The Army values are still present with me every single day. And there were also, I was very fortunate. I was a political science major, focused on international relations. I got to do an undergraduate fellowship called the Center for the Study of the Presidency and Congress that was pretty incredible. And I really dove into social sciences, and I think a lot of those lessons are very relevant today as we launched our campaign a year ago and have been serving these past 6 months.
So then you go and become a helicopter pilot and end up being deployed to combat.
That's right.
What was that like, and what was that time of your life like?
For sure. So fortunately, West Point was a great lesson, so many lessons from the global war on terror. As we were there and these classes were coming back, we were able to share so much of their experience. And so I go to Fort Rucker, Alabama, and go through flight school, Ranger school, end up doing survival school, and I get to my first unit at Fort Hood, Texas, and I was an AH-64D Apache attack helicopter pilot. Got about 10 months worth of training and then deployed to Iraq as a part of the surge in 2008, was stationed at Camp Taji just north of Baghdad. And so our area of responsibility was Baghdad and the surrounding areas. And I did survival school, I volunteered for that in Ranger school because I wanted to have those hard experiences to understand what my customer, the ground force soldier, was going through, to better relate to them and be able to provide that support that we did, which was reconnaissance and direct fires in support of those U.S. forces. And it was a very formative experience. I think there were moments of, again, of just uncertainty and anxiety, and you lean into your training and you work really hard to deliver on the mission that you're assigned. And we would always have what we called an air weapons team, 2 Apaches east of the Tigris River, 2 west of the river. And we were out looking for the enemy that was emplacing IEDs, and they were launching rockets into the green zone. So we were out searching for them. We were supporting convoys on the ground. And I'll tell you, David, one of the moments that was most impactful for me in the Iraq deployment with the attack helicopter unit was that despite all of this chaos going on, I was in the air on Christmas Eve as we were on the night shift going into Christmas Day. And we sent one of our air weapons teams back to base because it was so peaceful that night. And I remember the sun coming up on Christmas morning and this calm and peace that settled in. And it was reassuring and reaffirming that our mission there to support U.S. forces and our coalition ground forces was the right mission as we were there to operate in the global war on terror.
Wow, that's a pretty cool image. Bring a lot of stuff together there. So you end up doing your deployments, and then you got involved in public service. I mean, I suppose serving the military is a form of public service for sure, maybe the ultimate form, but then you get involved in public service and politics. What made you want to move in that direction?
Yeah, well, after I flew Apaches too, I went on to the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, and I served as a Chinook pilot there, deploying a number of times to Afghanistan, which was another very formative experience.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Working with Special Operations Ground Forces, and that together with the attack helicopter experience, I think coupled with my background, the time at West Point studying political science and social sciences, when I left active duty, I went to work for a veteran-owned small business in Nashville and started to get a little bit of that experience. I came up here on the Hill a decade ago in 2016, and I did an unpaid fellowship with Senator Grassley's office on health policy, and didn't have a health background, but was really eager and interested to learn more about congressional oversight and the work that office was doing. And I think that combination of experiences really helped as I moved forward, and I ended up taking a job in the Tennessee Department of Veteran Services, my first job in the public sector outside of military service in Tennessee, and was working. I covered the western 30 counties in Tennessee for veteran services, the field offices, state veteran cemeteries, anything veteran related. And that was also an amazing experience where we got to work with people that were very near and dear to my heart, folks that were transitioning out of Fort Campbell, veterans from every conflict, even back to Korea, World War II. And I loved that aspect of service. I loved serving those folks as customers. And so went on after that and went to the Tennessee Department of Transportation, served in the governor's office as deputy chief operating officer, and then went back to the private sector to a healthcare company, and ultimately was commissioner of general services, led that 400-person agency. And that's what I was doing when we made the decision a year ago to launch the campaign. But all of those experiences, I think, public sector, military, private sector, were very helpful to build the team and the network needed and to have the experiences to run a successful campaign for Congress, and then ultimately to get into office and work to support our constituents and make the best decisions possible.
So, as you've entered Congress, one, is there anything that surprised you? And two, one of the things that we've highlighted for most of this year is we call it a One Small Step campaign, which is encouraging Americans to take that small step like anyone in history has to make America better. Like, how'd you get involved? I mean, you took it by going to West Point, and then also took it by, running for office and, serving veterans and all that. But I'd imagine, ultimate leading to Congress, I mean, that's a huge step, right? And so when you got there, one, was there anything that surprised you? And two, is it a fulfillment of what you've wanted for your life? Or do you feel like you can make the biggest difference that you could have? Or are there other steps that you'd like to take that would help, that you think will help you be more effective in your service?
Well, absolutely. And this was a very big step. But I would encourage folks to get involved in public service, volunteer groups, any way possible. I think that is what a tremendous campaign, the One Small Step. I think it's remarkable, and it's been so impactful, and just getting involved to help and doing your civic duty and responsibility, and getting out to vote and ensuring you vote and you're engaged in the political process and you're helping folks, I think is so important. And for us, one of the cornerstones to this is our team. And that goes back to West Point, the time in special operations and in business and state government, is that when you build and form really strong, cohesive teams and you lean into the culture, then you're able to see just incredible things happen. And that's what we did. We've literally been building this plane as we fly it. So in that special election, we won on December 2nd last year, flew to DC on the 3rd, got sworn in on the 4th. And so we didn't have that normal time to prepare and build the team.
Wow.
And so we were hiring and interviewing, all with an objective to get the team up and running, to get our district offices back open as fast as possible to serve our constituents. And so we've hired just an incredible team. I'm so proud of them. And in the first quarter, we visited all 14 of our counties, which was a goal that we had. And we spent the first quarter legislatively on a single bill. I made a campaign promise that the first bill that I would do would be for veterans, for Gold Star families. So we spent a good amount of time whiteboarding, talking to groups, talking to constituents and stakeholders. And we came up with the Honor Gold Star Families Act. And I'm proud to report that is a bipartisan bill, 21 co-sponsors. It's supported by the Gold Star Wives, Gold Star Mothers, National Guard Association of the U.S., Source America, a number of organizations. It went through the 4-country caucus that I sit on and got 100% vote from Democrats and Republicans.
Wow.
And this bill increases the death gratuity that's that money that's paid to a service member's family after they're killed in that first week, tax-free from the current amount of $100,000 to $200,000, provides a cost of living adjustment, and then makes it retroactive to January 1st to cover Operation Epic Fury. What we found in our research is that the death gratuity has not been updated in 20 years. 2006 was the last time it was increased, and it's never kept pace with inflation. We knew that no one else was leading on it in Congress. We thought it was something that we could get done this year, and I'm so thankful that we've had co-leads, Republican and Democrat co-leads, that have stepped up to lead on this. Language from our bill has been included in the National Defense Authorization Act in the House. So we think that this is going to move forward. Senator Sheehy has introduced the bill in the Senate, so it's got a companion bill. And I'm just proud of the team because that was our effort in our first 3 months in office. And to see the team come together and to work really hard to get that done has been great for us. It's been a small step in the right direction, and we've got a whole lot more work to do. But that was the first thing that we wanted to do to build momentum and to fulfill a campaign promise. So very proud of the team for that. We've introduced 5 bills total so far. So after the first 3 months, we've got 4 others. We've led on a bill. I'm on the Homeland Security and Science, Space, and Technology committees. Yeah. We've led on bills out of both of those. So a lot more work to do to deliver results, but I'm very proud of the team for this strong start.
That's so fabulous to hear. We've talked to a lot of veterans on this podcast, different issues. And, unfortunately, a lot of times it's how our government seems to not honor the promises we've made to the men and women who've served. And gosh, I mean, we talk about Gold Star families. They made the ultimate sacrifice. And so I applaud you for that, because it's great to hear about hopefully something working to help, veterans and these families. So I hope that that's successful. That's pretty fabulous. It's a good first step out. What's been your impression of being in Congress? I mean, my former colleague and my predecessor as the co-host of this, your colleague Jeff Crank. Other than him pulling down the class, I mean, how's the rest gone? Yeah. So you asked too, what's been most surprising? One of the things, David, that's been surprising is I got here and people were helping me figure out. Tim Burchett pulled me up to the front, had to show me this on day one, literally day one. This is how I didn't have my voting card, so I couldn't vote electronically. He had to show me, this is how you vote. Like, you pull the green card for yes. It's pretty simple. So I've been walked through all of that. And but one of the things that is that being on the House floor, everybody kind of goes to their same seats. We don't have assigned seating, as you know, but everybody kind of goes to the same spot. So that was kind of funny to see. I made the new guy mistake a couple of times, I think, in sitting in some folks that have been there for quite a while, and they were very kind about it, but I moved a few down as I was there, and I tried to circulate around and just meet as many people as possible. But that was surprising. Our freshman class, the 119th freshman class, is really outstanding. It's a great group, and that has been I think just very welcoming. They've pulled me in as, I'm now not the newest guy, but one of the newest guys, and they pulled me in, and I've started to build really strong relationships, and it has been, we've really worked to try to meet as many folks and colleagues as possible. And one of the things that's helped with that is I played in the congressional baseball game. Loved awesome. Baseball growing up. My dad was he was a big baseball fan, and so I played since I was 4 years old and played in high school. And so that was a great experience to meet other members that I otherwise wouldn't have met. And let me just tell you, David, that was probably my happy place in the Nationals ballpark, being able to run in the outfield with my daughter's almost 2, and she loves to run right now. And so be able to hold her hand and run right before the game in the outfield, and to be there with my wife and my full team. Our team from the district came in, back to building strong teams. We wanted to use that as a team building experience. So everyone was there together. We had team jerseys made, and to be there, and it's what a great game. It'd been played for over 100 years. It raised $3.2 million, the most ever raised for charity. Right. And, it's amazing. And we won. So we won 11-2. I got to score 2 runs. So that was really fun. Slid into second base. And what a fun experience, and something really positive, bipartisan, that was for charity. And so, from my viewpoint, Republicans have to continue to build up that momentum and win, and we're going to keep winning through the midterms. We got to hold the House. And so, I believe Mark Teixeira is going to win from Texas. So, former All-Star.
Absolutely.
That's a good recruit.
Absolutely. This was 6 years in a row, and we've got to keep that moving. And Mark, I met him a couple of weeks ago. What a nice guy. And I think that's a guaranteed home run or walk each plate appearance, probably.
I think you're right. Yeah, that's a ringer if I ever heard one. But hey, so it goes. Well, that's fabulous. What a cool event. And when I heard how much it raised for charity, I was really kind of blown away by that. So what a fun, cool thing. So, well, I really appreciate the work that you're doing on behalf of your constituents. I also loved, the reason we wanted to kind of talk to you is just like a lifetime of service that you've exemplified and like carry on. I mean, you're still a young guy who's just doing great things to help people. And whether it was serving in the military, serving in your state, or serving in Congress, I look forward to watching all the great contributions that you make. So thanks so much for being with us.
David, thank you. I mean, I'm so blessed. I've had so many amazing mentors and teachers over the year, and teams that have invested in me, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for the Tennessee 7th Congressional District, just amazing people that have given me this opportunity to serve. And we're going to take the same work ethic that we had in the campaign in this first 6 months, and we're going to keep driving forward as hard as we can. I'm also very grateful for the partnership with AFP, all the work that you do. It's an amazing organization that is on the forefront of opportunity and freedom and pushing that, and we want to be a part of that and help however we can. I'm very grateful for that, and this awesome podcast as well.
Well, thanks. We appreciate it. I live in outside of Chicago in Illinois. And I can tell you that many of my friends and neighbors are moving into your congressional district because it's a great place. It really is a great place.
Well, we appreciate that. We want them all. Please come on, move in. We think it's a great area in Nashville and surrounding, and strong conservative values, and we're going to keep fighting hard to make that the case.
Well, they got a good representative, so really appreciate it.
I appreciate that a lot.
Cool. Well, folks, if you like this episode and would like to stay connected with the podcast, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, as well as following us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And always remember, liberty and freedom are easily taken for granted. Don't take it for granted. Go out there and defend freedom and liberty. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to American Potential. You may listen to more stories from Americans working every day to expand freedom and opportunity in their communities by visiting AmericanPotential.com.